You're doing great in work and on paper everything should be great. But there's this low-level feeling that you just can't shake. You're tired in a way that sleep just doesn't fix. Most people call this burnout, but I actually think it's something else. And if I'm right, it completely changes how you should be trying to fix it. Let me ask you this. Do you wake up every Monday morning feeling the exact same? You can't quite believe the weekend is over, and despite spending the entire thing resting, you're still absolutely exhausted. You're a bit flat, you're a bit directionless, but yet again, like you did last week, you go into this week determined to try and figure out what you can do differently to leave that week feeling a little bit more in control. But by the time Friday rolls around again, that energy is just gone, and not because you had a bad week. You actually got a lot of really good stuff done, stuff that you should feel proud of, but yet when you get into your car leaving the office on Friday, you're back feeling flat, directionless, and like you have absolutely no energy. When you do get back into your car and you start logically thinking about it, you know you should feel proud and satisfied of everything that you got done, but instead you're just left wondering how you're going to find the energy to come back on Monday and do it all over again. Look online and most people will call this burnout, and the solution to that is pretty simple. It's you book time off or maybe go on a holiday so you can stop and recharge the batteries. Burnout is a capacity problem, and essentially it materializes when we've done too much, haven't taken enough time to recover, and we're just left with no energy. But then when you come back from that holiday or time off, nothing else feels different. You come back in on that Monday and it feels the exact same. So maybe you think that actually you need a new job. So off you go, spending the few months it takes to find the new job, only to find that 6 months into it, you're back to square one. If this sounds a little bit too familiar, I'm sorry, but you're not burnt out, because if you were, those things would have absolutely fixed it. So if it's not burnout, what is it? Misalignment. Essentially what you're doing is putting all your time, effort, and energy into creating a life that you've never actually stopped to figure out if you want. This is so common for people like us, where we listen to podcasts and read books and end up hearing so many stories of what success looks like for the people who've already found it. And what we do is we take those tools and systems that those people have used to create their ideal life and run with it. But the only problem is, because we've never actually sat down and assessed to see what we want in our own life, well, we never get anywhere. It's not that you don't have the energy and dedication and motivation to do something, it's that you've got your car pointed in the wrong direction. Even if you're not convinced, I've got 3 questions which will tell you pretty quickly if this is the case for you or not. And as you answer these questions, it will also start helping to put a little bit direction on where you should be going instead. And once you answer these questions, if you find that there's actually something in it for you, I've got a free 20-day email course called Your Next Move Clarified, and I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can check it out. But on to the questions. Who are the types of people you want in your life, and what's your relationship to them like? Life is built around the people who are in it. It's the connections we make with them and the memories we form that we end up with a life that we're absolutely delighted with. But very, very rarely do people actually stop and ask what those types of people should be. Do you want them to be driven for success like you, so that you have somebody to hold you accountable and to give you support and direction as you go through that journey yourself? Or would you like them to be completely opposite, somebody who is just happy living life from one day to another, so that you have the reminder to actually stop and get out of the trenches to enjoy the process? What does spending time with them look like? How do you show up for one another? What kind of memories and activities do you want to do together? By figuring out the type of people you want to be around, you're getting so much closer to figuring out what your life actually wants to look like. The second question is, what problems do you actually want to solve? Being successful doesn't mean not having any problems. It actually means that we've gotten to choose the problems we want to solve. Nobody wants the problem of trying to figure out where next month's rent is coming from, but some people absolutely will want the problem of trying to figure out how to lead a team or build a business. But for others, that would sound like an absolute nightmare. So by spending some time trying to figure out what problems you do want to solve, well, that'll give you a little bit more direction as to what kind of career you want to build for yourself. The third question is, where do you get genuine satisfaction? Now, absolutely, some of your satisfaction is going to come from solving those problems that you've hopefully gotten an opportunity to choose, but definitely you will get some satisfaction from other things too. A few years ago, I had a motorcycle that was acting up, and I spent weeks trying to figure out how to fix it. Going through the process of troubleshooting and trying different things to get it back on the road again was hugely satisfying for me, but for you watching this, that might seem like an absolute nightmare. By figuring out what gives you satisfaction, particularly in your downtime, You're now getting closer to figuring out what kind of hobbies and activities you want to do in your free time so that you're not feeling like it's all work, 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 work. Look, I know these questions are simple, but that doesn't mean that they're ineffective. And in fact, since I learned what these questions were, when I go back and listen to the successful people on podcasts that I enjoy, when you actually listen to what they're saying, it's clear that they've stopped and thought about the answers for themselves. But when you sit down to actually ask yourselves these questions, it might be quite painful, because if the answers don't line up with what you've been doing for the last weeks, months, or maybe even years, well, now you're going to have to admit that you'd gotten something wrong, and that can be really, really tough. But momentum is always comfortable, but it doesn't mean that it's going to get you to where you want to go. It's better to stop and learn from those mistakes now so that you can spend as much time trying to move in the right direction. And if you find that there's some weight in this for you, I really do feel that my free 20-day email course called Your Next Move Clarified is right for you. The link is in the description below. The first step to building your ideal life isn't momentum, it isn't productivity, it's making sure that you're actually pointed in the right direction.